Few survive this world. But those who do awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-worlder. If the sands don't take you, the storms will swallow you whole. But you don't have to walk this path alone. In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. To conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control. Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Hello everybody and welcome to our very first Dune Awakening live. I am Natasha Rösli, Senior PR Manager here at Funcom, and I'm very excited to be your host for today. We have lots of really cool things to go through. Among them, we will show you for the first time live gameplay while we'll chat about exploration and the world of Dune Awakening. We'll talk about the music and the audio of Dune Awakening. And last but not least, we will also go over our business model and the pre-orders that we just started earlier today. So you'll see we'll have lots to go through. Also, we will be collecting questions from the chat for the different segments, and we will answer those at the end or towards the end of the stream in a Q&A. So get comfy, make sure you're well hydrated, and let's get started.
Welcome to Arrakis, the most dangerous planet in the universe. Dune Awakening is a multiplayer survival game on a massive scale, where the open, ever-changing world ensures exploration remains a vital activity. Join us as we traverse the breathtaking landscapes and uncover what the sands have hidden. Follow in the footsteps of the native Fremen and learn to overcome the deadly environment. Collect materials to craft a shelter, still suit, and your first vehicle, then venture into the desert. With a scanning module installed, you can scan for resources in smaller areas, or climb the highest peaks to launch a survey probe, revealing large swaths of terrain and important locations like shipwrecks or abandoned Imperial testing stations. Traverse difficult terrain with tools like the Shigawire Claw and Suspensor Belt, and claim powerful tech and gear. Expand your fleet of vehicles and upgrade them with new modules to suit your playstyle. From the cockpit of the iconic ornithopter, even the most remote expanses of Arrakis are within your reach. In the deep desert, massive Coriolis storms regularly sweep across the land with monstrous power, changing the entire map every week. As new resources and secrets are revealed, the race to survey the vast new landscape begins anew. Be the first to mark the location of precious resources, and give the map to your allies, or sell it to other players on the exchange. Here, there are no paths to tread, only power to claim. This is infinite exploration. This is Arrakis.
So to talk about the world and exploration in Dune Awakening, we're gonna jump into live gameplay, and I have two guests with me here to talk about that, two very exciting guests. We have here on the side, Jeff Gagné, who is our world director on Dune Awakening, and we have Øyvind Avenstroup, who is expert environmental designer, artist, who will jump on and answer questions in the end as well. Jeff, for example, who you might know, by the way, also as El Jefe. For some of you, if you know, you know. Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit to the viewers?
Yes, I'm Jeff. As Tasha said, I'm the world director on Dune Awakening. I've been in the industry for 2 decades, worked many years at Ubisoft and Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, The Division, jumped to other companies, worked on Battlefield, Divinity Original Sin 2, and now I'm working on this beautiful world made out of sand and rock.
And then, Øyvind, do you have a nickname, by the way?
Some people call me Allfather.
Oh, Allfather, like Odin?
Yes, because I know so much about
It's
the
like,
game.
it's like office dad as well, right?
Yes.
Like everyone knows we can go to Øyvind if there's any questions.
This is true.
But yeah, introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hello. My name is Øyvind Avenstroup. I've been in the industry for 3 decades.
Yes.
Started with in Funcom in 1996. The majority of my time has been here. I've basically been working on all the Funcom games almost.
On all of them, including Secret Worlds.
Secret World, Longest Journey, Dreamfall, Age of Conan, Exiles, Anarchy Online.
You actually worked on Anarchy Online?
Yes.
Oh my god.
You're
I think
that
a
old.
lot of viewers will go like, yes, right now. So that's amazing.
It doesn't look like it, but you're that old.
Oh my god. We don't do that here. We don't do any age shaming here. It's like, all right. But yeah, so as we now jump into some of the gameplay, we'll have actually Camille behind the camera who is playing for us. We will, there he also emotes, nice,
Well
love
done.
it, love it. So as we take our first step here into the world, I mean, one of the main concerns that players have, or that we see often asked in the public, is like, Arrakis is a desert planet. Is it going to be boring? You know, like, can you do a lot with the desert?
Yes.
But we can, I think we can. I think we can actually say that we can. So what was the biggest challenge, though, to make our Arrakis?
Yeah, it was basically, when I started at Funcom, one of the most important pillar I had for me was, for the world, was verticality, right? Yes, I was in charge of the world on a desert planet, but I wanted to make sure that we would still have a lot of verticality in the game, right? So we'll see that later also, but there's a lot of rock formation and different biomes that we'll explore and things like this, but it was really, really important to me that it was just not a flat space of sand, right? And thanks to Øyvind and a lot of people on the world team, we were able to manage quite a lot of different high elevation with lots of different vistas, like the one that we have right now. And we can see Camille using the binoculars to make sure that you can look at the trade post. Right here we have 4 of them in Hege Basin, the map that you will play many hours. This is a neutral section that hosts a lot of NPCs. You can talk to vendors, you can get some contracts. It's our quest systems and other things like that in there.
I think it's also interesting to note that while we explore here and use the binoculars, it does actually add the points of interest that you're looking at to the compass at the top.
Yes, exactly.
Plus, you can also add your own markers, right?
absolutely.
So I think that's also.
Yes.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah,
by
that's
the
a
way.
little garage that we added
Yes.
because we had during the beta there was a lot of
Yes.
players going to the trade post with their hard-earned sand bike, and they were just placing their sand bike here there. They were going to the trade post, and then a sandstorm was coming. When a sandstorm comes, the door closes.
Yep.
And
Oh, we are getting a sandstorm now, so we can.
There
actually,
is a
yes.
sandstorm, so we'll see.
But
We'll
what
see.
I think is very cool, like just to like mention that again, we added those garage areas because our beta testers
absolutely.
actually came up with the idea, and they were like, okay, my sand
Yeah,
bike
can I
is
have
destroyed.
garage?
Can I
Yeah,
have a
absolutely.
garage?
Because for us, I
So-
don't know, we play the game so much, so it's hard to know what we don't know, right? So
And we
yeah, the
actually
door
have-
closes, and then when you're stuck inside and your bike outside, when you go out, your bike is destroyed. So now, if you put at least your bike in a little garage, it's gonna be okay.
Or quite damaged at
yeah,
least,
quite
right? Like,
damaged at
yeah,
least
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure, right?
So we might actually see here the doors being, we see the sandstorm incoming here. Depending if the sandstorm actually comes close enough. It
Yeah,
looks
now
like
it is. Yeah, you should
Yeah, it
get
is.
inside, Kim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is gonna eat a bit of time though, but that's just how it is.
I haven't actually tried. Can you get like squished and killed between the doors? That's actually
think-
something I want to figure out now because I honestly don't know. I haven't
Yeah,
tried
Camille,
that.
don't try it.
Yeah, don't
But
try it.
No.
I think you're pushed in or out. I don't exactly remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You also see like
well,
yeah,
that's funny
the
because
door closed.
there's a lot of things that can happen in the environment, and yeah, that just happened during the stream. So it didn't happen earlier, but now it happened. So we're gonna wait a little bit and talk a bit more, right? So the thing in front of Camille was that's the contract board. So it's one of the way that you can get quests, like contract things to do, basically. You pick them up and then you do them, you get some rewards. You can also find contract in the world. Some people might have been sent to kill other baddies, and then you just happen there, you steal the contract and you finish the job and get the reward for yourself.
You also saw that you have faction-specific contracts as well. They have like specific icons there, of course. So
Absolutely.
there's lots of things that and then you can of course see your quests or contracts, like we call them here, in your quest log,
Absolutely.
in your contract log, so to speak.
Yes.
So you have like, you also have like the faction
Can I fly you
agents
somewhere
here,
today?
like in
Yes.
these trade posts that you can like talk to if you want to actually start one
I
of
like
the
to
faction
fly.
quest lines.
Yeah,
Fast.
absolutely.
Storms, worms,
There's a
or
quest
static,
line that's in
nothing
you
stops me
later
from
in
getting where
another
I need to go.
region that
But you know what I
brings you
don't
to
like much? Talking.
aligning yourself with one of the main faction, either Atreides or Harkonnen.
And also what we
uh,
saw just now was you can
yes.
actually, once you have a trade post explored or unlocked, you can actually use a pilot that flies you to one of the either Arrakis or Harko village, like the
Yes,
faction
you
cities.
can go
the player
to
cities.
you can go to the trade post, or you can also fly outside of this map and then go into the cities. And there's a lot more things to explore there, more NPC to talk to. You have access to the exchange, which is the Dune auction house, where you can buy and sell things for and from other players.
Yeah, because generally you actually need an ornithopter, right,
Yes.
to go there. So we made sure that even newer players can actually enjoy those areas,
Yeah.
even if they don't have the ornithopter unlocked just yet.
Exactly. It takes a lot of time to get the topter, so
takes
It's
good to
worth
be-
it.
It's worth it.
It's,
oh yeah,
absolutely,
it is.
100%.
Absolutely.
It's a really wow moment. I remember when I made myself my first ornithopter, I was very proud, and it was a
Yes.
really cool moment.
Sometimes when I test bugs, I just stop and I just fly around.
Really, just to
Yeah, do the booster.
enjoy your work. so
Takes
to
longer
say.
to fix bugs
Yeah, but
because
nobody knows that.
Enjoy your work,
exactly.
you know.
Well, now everybody knows.
You need to, yeah.
Absolutely.
So in this case here, we do have a sandbike already, and we have like a few things that we're checking out now in the base.
Camille deposing blood that he harvested from enemies before. That's the best first way to, well, second way I must say, to hydrate yourself. First way is to suck up sap plant at the start of the game. But then at some point you unlock tools to be able to harvest blood from enemies, and then you can process it into water, where you can then drink. You can also drink blood if you're really desperate, but it's not really good.
It's not
not very good.
it's not suggested at least, or
No,
it's not
exactly.
like, yeah.
So yeah, we've shown a lot of Haga Basin South in many of our videos before and other things. So Camille is gonna move away from there. Still see a couple of, have a little look at a couple of other locations on the way. Luckily for us, it's nighttime now, so there's not much sun to deal with because it's better to travel during the night. You don't have to run with shadows and things. And then Keno is
Doing a
having
barrel
little
roll on the
a little
ground.
barrel roll. That's fine. It happens. He's going up that little rock formation here. Beautifully set rest.
I also, yeah, exactly. I love how the guides literally kind of, you know,
Like,
guide you
like
there.
in
The
Bloodborne.
lights guide you a little bit. I mean, I think it's not like too obvious, but it's still like nice to have like little things that your eye goes to.
Exactly. This is
That's
classic world
that's
design and
building,
at the heart,
right?
you know?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, now we're going to meet our lovely Directionara. He's our planetologist, if I can say it like this. He's one of the NPC that you will meet in the game to learn a new skill tree,
returned.
basically.
How
So
can this humble botanist
you talk to
be
him,
used?
and then you do little things for him, and then
Directionara,
when you're done, you will be able to
planetologist,
unlock
botanist,
a new skill
and
tree that you might not have when you
Political
create your
exile,
character.
I'm afraid.
There's many of them in the world. You will have to find them,
I learned the
and
hard
when you
way.
do so, you will be able to
Never say the
unlock
wrong
more
thing
skills
someone
to
might take.
diversify your build.
Yeah.
Cyprian
So once
Io.
again, exploration
I
pays off
loathe
because you
that
might
name.
actually find
Barely a planetologist
those
at all.
strangers out in the wild
Think
to like
Absolutely.
the legacy of the kinds
customize your
in the
builds as
hands
well.
of this.
Yes.
because as we know, you can mix and
Makes
match all
me
different skill
sick.
trees
Yes.
as long as you have skills unlocked.
Exactly. And there's lovely little set dressing there done by the art team to really emphasize that this guy's growing some plants in the harsh world of Arrakis. Now,
I'm gonna jump back on our bikes. I mean, we also saw Camille use the Shiga wire claw earlier. So
yeah, the start.
because traversal and traveling is going to be a big part, obviously, for players. They will spend a lot of time doing that, so we also wanted to make sure it's actually fun, both in terms of how the world looks like, but also in terms of the options they have to do that. Right?
Absolutely.
You wanna?
Well, using the Shikawai during combat is can be quite effective as well. You can even use it to stun.
Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
that's very
It's a
true.
multiple purpose, and
Yeah.
then I don't remember if Kendall was doing that. Oh, yep,
Oh, we have
that's
a
really good.
dynamic encounter here.
Yeah, that's a dynamic encounter. So yeah, sometimes you travel the world and then things happen, and then it was a group of scavenger with a broken down bike, and then
They wanted
yeah.
your bike.
Yeah, exactly. They shoot on sight.
Also, they didn't plan well enough.
No,
obviously,
exactly,
Because that's
exactly.
something you should definitely do. You need to be able, or you need to plan ahead if you travel.
Yes. So now we're gonna go to the Vermilius Gap. There's this thing flying in the background. It's a Sardaukar dropship. They will soon disappear because they are only there during the night. They have this massive light, and then if you get caught into the light, you're stunned into place for a little bit of time, and they throw Chol mercenary at you. You're not important enough for them to send Sardaukar, but they still send Chol mercenary to basically get rid of you because, for reasons I will not talk about here, they are there to find you, basically.
Look for someone.
Exactly.
For someone.
So now the worm is probably getting out. Yes.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Yep.
We
Don't
can
stand
see.
still.
Yeah,
Those-
you should get out there.
Too much vibration. You see the vibration bar there, so we
Yes.
actually pissed
The little
someone
worm.
off back there. The little one. Those are the little ones.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But what's cool about the sandworm specifically is that they actually have their own territory.
Yes.
Like they have their own kind of life, if you right.
Yes, absolutely. It's not visible for the players, but there's many worms in the map, and they all have their own territory. And then when you cross them, it's another worm that's gonna run after you, and they're really
Territorial?
territorial. Yeah, exactly. Excuse my French. And that's yes, they will come after you no matter what. And the more vibration you do, the faster they will come to you.
And they were just passing NPC camp because there's like different slices and different areas as well. So we just passed. Are we going into? I think it's actually in.
Yeah,
It's a
I
camp.
think-
It's
yeah,
an
exactly.
NPC camp. Yes.
And now we'll see the beauty of Oyvind work and world design. There's a beautiful arch that when you pass it, look at this. There's
The
this
vista.
beautiful, exactly. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Remember to stop here, go off your bike, enjoy it.
Exactly. Enjoy it.
We spend a lot
Stay
of
in
time
the
on
shade.
this.
Stay in the shade.
Stay in the
Make
shade.
sure. But also, what we just saw here was that there is an icon there, like at the camp as well, because
The Kirab?
the
Kirab symbol?
yes. So for example, the camps have different factions, or we have different factions in the game, different NPC factions. They might even fight each other as well. You will
Yes.
notice that as you explore. But more importantly, there is a reason and that they look different as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We have to diversify the camps, right? So they have the Kirabs, they like the broken machines, they try to fix them. We have the scavengers, which is like the first faction you actually meet. They're just trying to survive, like you, of course. And later on, you get more and more advanced factions, and they all have, you know, their banners, symbols, and kind of way of life, and how important they are on the hierarchy. So you need to fight your way up to the top.
Exactly, and they use different abilities also, and yeah, the higher you go in the factions, basically, the harder enemy gets, and they have more abilities to attack you, and different weapons. Oh, there you go, got stunned a little bit. But now Camille has a shield, so he's pretty much invincible to bullets, even though there's a power drain when he gets shot at. But that's a really good way to survive against melee, against range weapons.
I love his paths though, like the build. I am a swordmaster at heart. I love the swordmaster tree, so I am melee to do and to do. I actually hate if I have to use a weapon. I love the combos and those things. So.
I'm more of a gun guy myself.
You got a gun guy yourself,
yeah.
well, that's good.
That's the beauty of things, right? You can play like you like to play, like your approach. You can also be more sneaky.
Yes.
I always try to be more sneaky, and then I just end up aggroing the whole camp. It's like it never works out.
Camille using the voice right here to
nice.
attract the heavy. They are big baddies, and they have shields.
Yeah, they're annoying. They're very annoying.
Light machine guns, they're pretty annoying, yes. Because when they don't shoot, they have a shield, so you can't really shoot at them. And they have a lot of bullets.
So,
So,
talking about combat, we know that you have a lot of questions regarding melee combat in general. So we won't go into that today, also question or reply-wise, but we will have a dedicated combat stream for you down the line.
Yes.
And then you can throw all the questions you have at us then. So just keep that in mind if we don't answer any combat questions today.
We
Very
can
aware that
see-
you might know more.
So this one is a shield, so there's different weapons that are good against that. And there's using a disruptor right there, which is high burst rifle, throw a lot of bullets at the same time, so that's really good to be able to do. And then you can finish them off by how you want. Now it disappeared, which is really good, but Camille was fighting under the sun earlier, so he got sunstroke,
Yep.
which is one thing you have to keep in mind all the time when you travel during the day. So, and then he was dehydrating extremely fast, and now his hydration is pretty low. So you can see also whenever he shoots, the shield is turned off by default. Because you cannot shoot when you have a shield on you, of course. So you have to be careful into when you use a ranged weapon with a shield.
Now we can harvest their blood.
Yeah, that's
The
what he's
blood
been
of the
doing now.
enemies there.
He fill all his container. There's a lot of different containers that we have in the game. There's a little light that is pretty straightforward to know what is lootable and what is not. There's different size of chests. That's a bigger one right here. You get better loots and bigger piece of armor and things like that. That's a med crate, so you get a lot of med kit and different things. The locker that was there is pieces of component to craft and upgrade different weapons in the game, and then there's a lot of different things. Also, there's bigger, glowier, better chests. Also, we're gonna see one later because, like Tasha was saying, there's a lot to explore in this world, and I was personally more than happy to hide a lot of different things in all corners and height and depth of this planet. The turret is probably going to do its job. There you go. It's a really good skill to use at the start, by the way. It's really good against enemies. But there's a shield, so it doesn't do much. There you go. Slow blade, and then turret finished up the enemy, which is good.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but you can also parry.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
The enemy blades,
Yes.
stun them a little bit.
And now Camille's in a cave, which is another little piece of environment. This is a tiny cave that we have right here.
Also, we just found the contract there.
No, it's
Isn't that a
it's
contract?
it's a contract container, but there was nothing right here because he doesn't have the contract.
Oh, it was actually a quest item.
Exactly,
Okay,
it was a
yeah.
quest item, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have a contract. So at least for this specific, there's a lot of different places that you can find pieces before you have the contract, and when you have the contract, you can turn it already, right? But yeah. And then we just exited the little cave, which is another little environment that you get specific component in there. It's a old Fremen remnant from their ancient past, because you know that Fremen have had a little bit of a hard history in our timeline right here. And you can find different components to craft different things like steel suits and cutter rays and things like that. And there's other landmark like the one we've seen right here, this big mining rig that has been abandoned for years and years, that now have been conquered, and now it's Kirabs living there, like you said, right? All right,
And
another base.
Yes, we're at our second base here. Super nicely done,
Beautiful
by
base.
the way, by Tor Egil. Shout out to Tor Egil from marketing team, our communications manager. He is our internal builder. He is just amazing.
Oh,
Also, talking about building, like the screenshots that our beta testers are posting on our Discord are so mind-blowing. I cannot wait
Yes.
what the wider community is going to do with this. Like,
Yeah.
I am so excited. It's probably one of the things that I'm most excited about. What people will come up with building-wise.
Absolutely, because if
I
you
can't
remember,
wait.
there was the don't remember the name, but there was this person at the beta that made this car dealer.
The car dealer.
The car dealer.
Yes. Yes.
There was this massive base with little.
Yeah, like almost like honeycomb things,
Yeah,
like
exactly,
in a
yes.
beehive, and each had like an ornithopter or a sandbag that you could
bite.
look at, like
Yes.
literally like a car dealership. It was absolutely
Yes,
mind-blowing. It was
with all
so-
different swatches,
so
with
creative.
different colors,
Yeah.
and
It was
a
so
3D's
creative.
buggy and an Arcanon buggy and a lot of different. That was really cool. That was really cool.
Also here we see Camille is actually now preparing to,
Go farther.
ahead.
Yes.
But also I think DT, I think he now can abandon like the previous base.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
It's pretty good that thanks to Thor, because there's another base, right? But that's a big thing in the game. We expect player to move because everyone will start in the Haga base in south that you can see here.
That's
but
his old base.
Yeah, that's his
the
old
first
base, and then he can just abandon it, and then it's gonna be cleaned up by the storms.
Yes.
And it's really cool because, well, he doesn't have to get back there because he brought all his things already. But also it gives more space for the new players that
Yes.
will join the server
Yeah,
to be able to build their
absolutely.
base there.
Yeah.
So there's this flow of players that can go and further into the map, right?
The storm is like a Roomba of Arrakis.
Yeah,
Going
Storm
around
is
speeding up.
Shaiulu, then Storm is the Roomba of Arrakis, absolutely, 100%. So now it's time to fly.
This, of course, opens up the world even more.
Yes.
So you have a lot of additional opportunities and a lot of additional options now. Here we're looking at the area we were just at from the air.
Yes.
Again, for me, this was such an amazing moment when I, for the first time, got my very own ornithopter. I had to craft it myself. I had to work for it, literally in the game. And then you get to fly.
Yes.
It's just,
So that hole down there, Imperial Testing Station. We have different type. This one is a geological one, so it's more about old research about mining and resources and different minerals that got abandoned for 10,000 years when spice was discovered. They abandoned a lot of different things, and they've been recently reopened. And then, of course, there's a lot of baddies that are living there now. They took care of that. Mostly, again, we're still in the Vermilius Gap, so it is Kirab living in there.
also, we just flew over that white.
Yeah, this
yes,
white
there you go.
puff right there, this is flower sand. It's a resource that you can harvest either by hand, which is not really... I mean, you can. It's not that great, but you can. It's
not as efficient,
It's not
but-
efficient, exactly. Or with a static compactor, which is way more efficient. But it's on the sand, so of course you create vibration, and then what that means...
Worm coming.
Worm is coming, exactly. So now we're gonna... Oh, there's this big ship that fly from time to time, and there's
Yes,
also
and there's
this
also
thing
a
there.
crashed
Yeah, that's
spaceship
also,
that is coming down slowly out of the atmosphere. Yes.
That's a small crashing ship that's
Also
gonna
dynamic
fall
events.
somewhere. We don't know where. It happens from time to time. So we went onto this little flat rock. Literally, we called it literally that. It's the flat rock.
Is it actually called the flat rock?
I think there's
We
an
need-
outpost. There's an outpost just out
Joel,
under
give
it.
it,
I think.
give it a name, Joel. Like,
Joel is the one who gave the name, by the way.
oh no,
There's-
serious?
Yeah, there's flat rock outpost. There's
Oh,
a
no.
spice blown out happening. That's pretty good.
Oh,
Okay.
nice, perfect. Yes.
So just so everyone,
Spice blow.
there's nothing scripted here. It's all systemic, right? So.
Dynamic.
But
yeah.
Camille is gonna burn himself now because he's under the sun. So you should go hide.
Do not stand on a place where you see there's something happening, something in that
No,
color.
exactly.
Do not stand on it. Just
Exactly.
as a tip.
So that's one of the glowy chests I was talking about. As I said, there's a lot of them hidden throughout the world in many places, and then in them you can find these purple thing. It's unique schematics. When you find one, you need to go back to a safe space to be able to learn it. And Camille found a couple more. This is the good stuff,
Including
right?
a las gun.
Including a las gun.
Yeah, people wonder about
This
las
is really
guns.
late game, by the way.
We do have
but,
las guns in the
yes,
game.
we do have las guns, but you cannot create nuclear explosion with them. In our timeline, Shelm have specific anti. What's the word? I always forget. The safety.
Safety.
If you point at another player or an enemy with a shield with a las gun, that will not shoot. Because we don't want to everyone to just nuke everyone for the lulls.
It will basically just block.
Yeah, exactly.
It will what is the term?
It just doesn't work.
Yes.
It's there's probably an English word for that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
But you're safe and sorry.
But
Yeah, exactly.
this is one of the things that I was really excited about, and I know both your teams were working really hard on to find like those hidden places and like hide goodies for players to find. I remember like even in normal like the small caves that we saw earlier that are actually relatively small, I was like climbing there as like just figuring out how high can I actually go up in that cave, and then I found a little nook who literally had a chest with something very rare.
Yes.
And I personally, as a player, I love those things because
Yeah.
it makes me feel like, probably not everyone has found that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see the big hammer right there. It's a landmark called Mirzaba. Well, if you climb at the top, maybe it's another thing, you know?
Maybe not.
Maybe not, you know?
But it's not
no.
always that obvious. It's actually really
no.
fun that sometimes like, there's nothing there, and no, actually.
Yeah, there's obvious place, but also so now Camille used the survey
Yes.
probe, which is really cool. So it surveyed a part of the map and it opened up, and now we can see a lot of different things. So you can see the shipwreck just north of is where the mouse is. There's different outposts, and this is where you can get intel points. You see right here 0 out of 1. This is where you can unlock more tech in the tech tree. There's the red circle you see there. This is drum sand. So this is a Dune thing. If you go there, you hear it when you play boom, 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 and it attracts the worm like no tomorrow. And there's the other ones also that we see with the little lines on the right, which is tidal dust, which is the Dune term. Internally, it's quicksand.
Yeah.
Number 1 killer of vehicle.
Yes.
Which is interesting though, because like in the 80s, I was really thinking quicksand is gonna be a way bigger problem than it is nowadays. Because like, my childhood was ruined by movies with quicksand deaths. Like, let's not talk about never-ending story. But anyway, so we have quicksand in the game here. So here it is actually a problem.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know from personal experience that
Yes,
it loves to eat
exactly.
vehicles.
So you can see a lot of landmark there. Thanks
Ooh,
to,
and also a
again,
nice barrel roll
Yeah.
here from Camille. Very nicely done. So we have different modes in like when you fly. Like
Yes.
we have like
You can
Wanna
fly.
comment on that?
There's
the
the-
vulture modes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
normal.
You can do a lot of different things, and it's arcadey in a way, right? But it's easy to use, and it's really pleasant to go around. And Camille right there is just showing another thing also. I was talking about quicksand and drum sand, but there's also radiation in the game. You can see it with this little cute fuzzy thing that looks like northern lights, but you don't go there.
Don't stay in there.
No, exactly.
And actually, but because we have more things to show, obviously, we're gonna fly to some other areas. But we would like to start a poll here and open it up to Twitch chat. What would you like to go see between Imperial testing station or a shipwreck? Like those two. Like maybe we can also explain what the difference is briefly.
100%, absolutely.
But also, so we open a poll, and if you do exclamation mark vote A or vote B, so you can vote for either of them, and then at the end of like, I don't know, maybe 2-5 minutes, we see how long we're gonna run it. We'll see what you voted for, and we go visit that. We might die though, because it might be kind of like a high-end thing that we're gonna show you.
Yeah, we're going into a little higher tier,
Yes.
and Camille is not fully equipped for that, but that's fine. He's gonna get good, and it's gonna be great.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Like now we also see like different rock textures, right? Like what's the inspiration to go with specific rock textures? Maybe you can talk about
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
a little
what
bit.
Oh yeah, rocks. My
Owen's,
specialty.
Owen's favorite topic, rocks.
Rocks and sand.
I love blazing rocks. Yeah, the body dome is kind of the inspiration for a lot of the rock shapes. You will probably see it from the movie. But of course, that's a bit too Earth-like. So we had to kind of, ramp it up a little bit. Place some rocks vertically, having like these little mushroom shapes with kind of like holes. And maybe there's a little secret on top of some of them.
Or inside them.
Or inside
also.
them.
Or under
Exactly.
them.
Or under them, there's canyons. Because we have to make it a little bit more alien, right? So we can't just use Earth-like
Ooh,
shapes.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, you're getting good at this.
Also,
Yeah.
what I personally love is that also when you run on the ground too, there's always this super nice silhouette that we have. You know, I feel like it's never just flat desert, right? It's always like, was that planned? Before we go into the Haga Rift here, are those planned? How does that work?
Some are happy accidents.
There's some, because like Bob Ross would say, some are happy accidents, but there's a lot of, like at the way earlier, right? The archway, and then there was the thing in the back. It's 100%
Very
planned.
planned.
Of course, this is classic world design, environment design, just to make sure that like it's, yes, of course it's reality and things, but we just magically place things in line, So when you get somewhere, and you were talking about when we were visiting Derek, there was all these lights, and well, this is classic level design and art design, right? We guide you with things, you don't really think about it, and then magically you just reach a thing. And Camille is scanning for things now. I guess it's time to go.
Yes, so that's the other thing, right? Like we actually have verticality in the game, so it's
Yes.
not just flat desert, it's on one level. So
That's,
talk to us about this.
Yeah, Ivan, talk to us about how we. It was not easy when we talked about this beautiful region here, how we made it, but.
Yeah, what was the first thing? I want a canyon. Okay, here we have a canyon. Deeper. Deeper? Yes, deeper. More elevation. And it was a challenge because you need to actually get up from this deep canyon as well, right? So we have these platforms that you can drive on. And in the beginning, we didn't have that many, so we needed to add more and then traverse between them. And these tunnels, which are cool, but then we needed to make them cooler with the mining galleries.
Exactly.
And then they wanted a bit dark.
Yeah, at some point
which is cool.
We had the Haga Rift, and it was all fun and game and things, but I was like, how could we make it different?
Yeah.
So I was playing a lot of Zelda Tears of a Kingdom, and
there
I
you
was
go,
like, in the underworld, do that. And then of course pitch darkness is not great for art, so we had a lot of iteration and amazing work with the lighting team to make sure that you can still see in the dark and things like that, right? So, but it was a bit of a struggle to
it's a
make
challenge.
that canyon in there.
Yeah. And I think also, I know it because I actually placed the tech for it, but you are safe from the sandstorm.
Yes.
Down in there.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to know. So if a sandstorm is coming, dive into the Haga Rift.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then you're safe.
And there's obviously there's no worm. There's no worm down there also, so
That's
you're
a
pretty
good thing too.
There's other things.
Yes.
There's other things, but it's different. So where are we going?
We are going to the shipwreck.
You're going to the shipwreck.
Chat has voted.
Okay.
We are going to the shipwreck. Let's check
All
out the
right,
shipwreck.
all right.
So also let's talk about, like I mentioned, the difference between because there's differences between like
Yes.
Imperial testing station or a shipwreck.
Yes, I think the biggest part, in fact, that is kind of related to location, but not at the same time, is the Kenley, right? We haven't talked about Kenley. We had it a little bit earlier when we went to the trade post. We were in Kenley Guild Peace. You can see on the top right, there's a Kenley limited warfare. This is the PvE region, and now you're going to see the yellow thing under the compass. When Camille will go closer, the Kenley is going to change to War of Assassin. So every single shipwreck in the game, except the first one, is PvP. So we have these pockets of PvP in there. So when you go there, you need to be careful because yes, you have enemies to fight, but also potentially other players. You don't know, right? And then Imperial Testing Station are PvE. There's no problem with that. The big difference also is that, well, they offer different challenges, they offer a different look, of course, but also they offer a different loot. There are specific components that you want to get at trade posts, shipwrecks, to mainly craft weapons, and at Imperial Testing Station, it's a lot of things mainly to craft vehicles. It's not only that, but it's why you would want to go to one or the other. And then we can see here that now Camille is fighting harder enemies. This is the Slavers now. It's another faction.
He's got his drone out as well.
Don't want to be captured by those guys.
Yes, and they use a lot of suspensor grenade and thematic abilities to basically hook you in place and shoot at you and things like that. So
we just talked about the resources that you can find in the different, like the differences between resources, but there is generally other ways as well that you can find, or you can buy those resources, or you can find them from other players, of course, but also from trade posts. In some cases, you can also find them sometimes. It's just not as efficient.
Exactly.
Right? Like
if
you get it in higher quantity in these areas.
Exactly.
But
if you absolutely don't want at all to even get close to a PvP zone, you can buy the components for Solari, which is the Dune monetary resource, right? Yeah. Which is, we always have different ways of getting things depending on your play style in the game. So now, okay, let's get
find
in
our
there.
way inside here. This is special.
Yeah, that's a Pentashield door. He got the ID band earlier, which is pretty good, so he was able to cross it. It's a shield basically. You cannot pass through if you don't have the ID, but he had. So he's gonna get in there. He'll probably get another one.
Well.
So that's one of the heavy from earlier, but they're meaner, these guys, because yeah, that's slavers. So he has a shield on. So using the voice and then slash this guy to death.
He's doing really well, though. I got to say.
Yeah.
The fact that they're
they have this pushback abilities, because when you get too close, they get mean. Here we go. Good stuff. Great. So yeah, you can see here the different things. Also the armor plating. This is a component to craft different things. Mostly, of course, armors.
Tier armor, yeah.
So here we go. We got the mechanical part and the plasteel microfiber. Thanks, Dune, for all these great terms. That
You'll get used
we have to use. Yeah, exactly. Right? Instead of wood and rock, we have these things. But yeah, this is all these things you get in shipwrecks. Bring that to your base, and then that's going to be helping you to craft weapons, specifically. And then there's a buggy right there. This is there. You can steal it. We have that in the game also. You can steal vehicles from NPCs. So that helps you drive faster or different things like that. So kill that guy or skip him, because there's a big loot container close by that Camille, I'm sure, want to get. Spoilers. Or not. Camille doesn't care about the loot. It's fine. He has already he already has a last gun anyway.
We've seen the big chests,
yeah,
and
exactly,
he's armored up to his teeth anyway. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now we got another cycle again. It's night, so the starter car drop ship are probably out, but in this region there's not a lot because we're farther into the game now.
All right.
There you go. That's pretty cool.
Let's press on.
Yes. We have so much to cover.
out of the Canley area into the normal area again. So you'll see. You will always get an information when you cross something. So you will know that, okay, now I'm in PvP.
Yeah,
or
under the
or-
compass, it turns yellow if you go into PvE. It turns green if you go into guild peace, which is mainly cities and neutral zone, and it gets into red if you go into PvP area.
Right. So when we talk about hazards, we talked about hazards earlier. So we have the radiation, of course. We have the quicksand.
Yes.
Heat.
Jumps in.
Heat is also.
We have heat. We have fire. We have
Heat is a hazard.
poison.
Worms.
Yeah,
We have the worm,
worms.
of course.
That's a big hazard.
The
yes.
sandstorms also, of course. There's that. The Sardaukar, it's not really a hazard, but it's a thing that can get in your way during the night. And
Yeah.
it's always when you don't think about it, and then you see this big light coming to you, and boop, and then you have the Cho mercenaries falling from the sky, and you start shooting at you while going down because they use suspensors.
I really like the fact. Oh, here we are actually gonna fly into the
Overland map.
edge of the map and go into the overland map.
Yes. So the map that we've seen right there, we've seen just a little bit of it. This is one map. When you craft an ornithopter, you can leave this map. And then you can go to different places, including the deep desert, that we will not go now.
Nope.
But we're going to show you the thing. So that's a tutorial. We can close that.
We know that people really wanted to see the deep desert. Rest assured, we
Another
will
one.
do that in another
Exactly.
stream.
So we have this map right here where you're basically flying your little ornithopter, and then you can head towards different maps, which is a good thing for us also in the future. We will be able to add a lot more content with this,
Exactly.
which is really great.
Yes.
So that's the Haga Basin map, that's where we were in, and then Camille will now head south towards Harko village. So Camille is piloting his little thing. You have water on one side and fuel on the other. And,
A little bit of a swirl there.
a little
love it.
swirl there. There you go.
A little bit of
Little thing. You have these little
flourish.
fueling and water deposit here, so you can just stop there, and then your water will go up again. Because even in this little map right here, you're still a survival game, so fuel and water is important. And now we're gonna enter Harko village.
As we saw earlier, we had at the first trade post, we actually have NPCs that can get you there too.
Yes,
Before
the
you have an
taxi, yes,
ornithopter, or you can
absolutely.
fly yourself if you have one.
Exactly. It costs a bit of salary to get to cities, of course. We don't do that for nothing.
No one
But,
does anything for free on our
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
And, your character, that's what happens sometimes.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
All right. She
There we
forgot
go.
to dress. Okay, there we
It
go.
happens.
Yes.
Bit loading.
It took a bit of loading, but yeah, so Harko village, this is where the Harkonnen are for now in the game. And we'll not...
We're not gonna actually
spoil too
show
much.
too much here, but that's probably a really nice area to
yes.
close off this section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
One of the
So-
city, lots of things to do there, lots of people to talk to.
Yes.
contract
Obviously, we are
together.
actually playing on on our own servers, right? On our own
Yes.
server, we're not playing on the beta, or we're not playing on, especially not on the beta, because we didn't want player come like,
That's
hey
a
mom,
crash.
I'm on
To
camera.
crash into
You know,
us.
like yes. So we just needed to do the things that we needed to do, right? And so that's just a single player.
Yes.
So that's the reason you don't see any other players here.
Yes.
Generally, you will, obviously. So, yes, let's wrap it up here for the live gameplay and exploration and the worlds. Thank you to Camille for playing in the back there. That was fantastic.
You can't see him, but he did a great job.
Yes, and also thank you, of course, Øyvind and Jeff for making time to be on stream and chat to us about all of this. It was a pleasure, as always.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. It was
And-
I
great.
work next door.
Yeah, you didn't have that far, right? It was like just
I had
walk over.
I had a bit longer to get, but yeah, it's
Because
good to be
we're
here.
here at our offices in Oslo.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yes.
From Sweden.
Yes, you had a little bit longer. But yes, so we're actually gonna go into our next segment, which is gonna be about the music and the audio of Dune Awakening. And to get us into the mood for that, we're actually gonna watch a really cool video, the behind the scenes of how the soundtrack was recorded in London.
The most important thing music lends to a game is the emotional part. And this is something music does better than any other thing.
Sound is 50% of the experience. You can play a game without sound, but sound will convey the emotions that we have written and planned for. It connects the unconnected. We are approaching launch, and I'm here in London to watch the beautiful soundtrack being recorded at Air Lyndhurst.
It's been in my mind since the very beginning that we have to try and record this at Air. The sound of the hall is, in my mind, it's the best place in the world to record. And also the sense of scale that it lends to a production like this is exactly what we need. It gives us this huge sound that we cannot achieve anywhere else. The other thing that is equally important is the level of the musicians here. It's a level of perfection that you don't really encounter very much.
Being there and hearing the songs has been a fantastic experience. We're looking forward to get all this great music into the game.
When Arild first approached me with this project, he said it was Dune. And I got very inspired to work. I could see so many things that we could do with the music. It is always a bit of a challenge to work on something that other people have worked on before you. Hans Zimmer's score from the films is spectacular music, and you have to take that into consideration when you're working on the same IP.
Knut is particularly interesting. He has great anthemic songs, and it was natural for me to get in touch with him when we started this project. So we experimented quite a bit in the beginning. The Dune books, there is fantastic lore. It's an established universe in every way, but it also have these limitations. There's no computers, there's no gunpowder in the world. It's not the typical digital sci-fi slick soundscape you're used to in many games.
In the game, you can be anyone you like, you can belong to any faction. So there are very few areas and situations in the game that are purely Atreides, purely Harkonnen, purely Fremen. So you have to approach it in a different way.
Knut is a classical composer. He composes for orchestra, but we started out experimenting with synthesizers, and that was a really fun exercise to see what he would come up with. We definitely wanted these heavy synths, broken up brass and huge arcing strings. Arrakis is just a huge open landscape, ice cold at night, burning hot at day. You're alone as a player, and we really needed the music to fit and work with the landscapes. We came up with pillars for what we want to achieve. One of the pillars we wanted to use was flow, which means how sound needs to flow over time, not be too intrusive. The next pillar was information. Information is very important to players, and sound plays a big part of that. And the last pillar is evocation. We want to evoke feelings with our sound design.
From the very beginning, we decided that the music should be written in D. D because it's a very practical to write in, with everything recorded in the same tempo, in the same key. We have different parts, we have different layers. Suddenly, we have endless possibilities for variation.
The deliveries from Knut are delivered in stems, which are interchangeable and layered, so we can play around with it and adapt naturally to any situation. What we might start with is ambient music, supporting the normal game scenario, a player walking around, maybe building, doing survival gameplay, just beautiful music to support the visuals. Then suddenly a war might appear, or you might be attacked by a terrible scavenger. We need the music to change fast. We have a traditional adaptive music system where we use horizontal layering and vertical layering to do that.
On this project, I've been able to do a lot of creative things with the music that I haven't been able to really work with before. It allowed me to step out of the box of traditional orchestral thinking and explore a much bigger musical world. Windsack is an interesting track. The vocalist is very central here. The singer in this track, she represents Mother Arrakis, the voice of Arrakis. She's the voice of the desert. It doesn't become music before you put a human in there. And that human makes it music. And every now and then you meet a performer that can really elevate your music and your intentions. You just feel in awe. It's like a religious experience. It's just there. You cannot really imagine how you could write it down because you can't. You cannot write this down. You rely on someone that can actually bring it to life. We are extremely happy that we were able to do this here and with these people. The musicians are such a high level that you cannot really get that anywhere else. It's been an amazing experience and it's elevating our game to a different level.
In terms of iconic sounds, we try to do what we think is right, and you never know what will become iconic. It could be a small sound, it could be a UI sound reminding you of a sandstorm approaching. There's the worms, which are maybe the most iconic part of the books. It's been very interesting to work with these worms and try to come up with our own soundscape for them. In the books, they are described, sound-wise, as just hiss of sand. What you will hear when the worm approaches is you might hear your vehicle shaking, your building shaking. Sandworms are divine environmental creatures, not monsters. They will breach through the ground and make huge, breathy screams, but still we try not to make them too monster-like. Sound is increasingly important in this type of games, and in general today I think it's more respected than ever. You have the technical aspects where sound needs to convey information. Sound design can tell you what's inside a box, what's the technology behind this. We want players to be able to close their eyes and just listen to the soundscape and the wind and what's going on to understand where they are, whether it's in Sheol, which is a radioactive area, the Red Desert is known as Vermilius Gap, or the opening area, Hagabas in south. It's truly wonderful to work with sound and have a great team to work with, and such an amazing IP as Dune to explore.
The most important function of music in visual media is to lend emotion to the visuals. And this is something music does better than any other thing. Another very important function of the music is to create a sense of time and space. What it does for the game is that it helps transport the player into a new universe, to a strange new world, to the world of Dune, to Arrakis.
So let's talk about the music and the audio design in Dune Awakening. Both things that are, of course, incredibly important. And I do have two exciting guests with me now. Sitting here to my left, I have Knut Avenstroup Haugen, award-winning composer on several of our games, and also Arild Iversen, who is our audio director here at Funcom. Knut, would you like to introduce yourself quickly to our viewers?
Well, you already did it, I think. I'm Knut. I'm the composer for Dune Awakening, and I also did Age of Conan and Conan Exiles for Funcom. So I've been working with Funcom for actually 22 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Did you work on Anarchy Online as well? or-
No, I didn't.
No,
That
not
was
on that one.
before.
On Secret World.
No, that
No.
was also someone else. But I started in 2003 with Age of Conan.
Age of
That's when
Conan.
we first started working on that game. So it's a long
Right.
time. Yeah.
That a lot of players here probably will recognize as well. Like the soundtrack is absolutely amazing, and as I mentioned, award-winning too. Ariel, you would like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, so Harold, I've been around here for just around 2013, I think. I worked on most games since then. I didn't work on Age of Conan, but I did one sound, I think. I did a pop-up.
It was
a level up sound.
You did one sound.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome, though. You can
So-
say you were involved in that too.
So, now audio direction for Dune, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, talking about Dune, we mentioned, Knut, that you have, of course, worked on Age of Conan and Conan Exiles, but Dune is, of course, very different in many aspects. How was it to work on Dune compared to the other games?
Yeah, so for a composer, the most interesting thing is to be able to do something new, something different. That's always very exciting and kind of gets your get you
Creative
going.
juices
Exactly.
flowing.
Yes, exactly. That's
Yeah.
very exciting always. So it was. I was very happy to be able to start working with something like Dune because it allowed me to, both the Age of Conan and the Conan Exiles, they have ethnic instruments and not just the orchestra, but I worked very much with the orchestra in other projects as well. So it was very liberating for me to be able to dive into a world where I could really work with synthesizers and sound design and creating sounds and manipulating sound and kind of create a new sonic palette that was very different to anything I had done before. That was that was, I think, the most interesting or exciting aspect about starting working on Dune. So there's also another aspect of it, and that is the music in Dune is more adaptive and interactive than in the previous games we've done with Funcom. So that means that I deliver the music in parts and in layers, and so I write complete pieces, but I also divide it up in parts and layers, and then Arild can use those parts to create new versions of the music.
Maybe it makes sense to go into that with you, like immediately. Also, like, how do you? So once the music is delivered by Knut in layers, how does it get translated, or how is it going to be used in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of great tracks from Knut. They were recently recorded in London, like you mentioned, and now I have, all the tracks, and they come in 40 stems, that is layers. The tracks separated in anything in the orchestra. It could be flute, voice, synthesizers, various percussion, and so there's the kind of the vertical layers, and then there's elements. I can break them apart. I'm not remixing them, but I can explore what's in the track and build it up with small segments and then into a large track. So I can use that for narrative, progression, and kind of the flow for the game. So it's really cool to work with. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, we use it, for instance, for in a special place we have now. I can combine certain elements of the music. Everything's in D minor. It's all in the same BPM. That's how we decided to do this. Do the music in the project so it can flow. And some of it has this kind of a little bit Trent Reznor-like sound to it that I'm not sure if Knut intended or not. But it's small. I find small things within the music I can use before we kind of evolve into the whole track itself. So.
To basically find the perfect area for some of these layers. And
Absolutely.
Also, you mentioned, of course, the recording. Thank you for that. We can just go into that one, because one of the very cool things with this production, specifically when it comes to the soundtrack, was that we were able to record at Ayer Studio in London, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And it was also, like you mentioned in the video that we just saw as well, that you were super excited to be there. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
we have been very privileged to be able to record everything at Air Studios. It's one of the best recording studios in the world, and everyone who works there or has been involved in the project, they are the best you can find in the industry, the best musicians. So everything has been done at the absolute top level. So we have, so that is of course extremely exciting to be able to do, and we have been very privileged to be able to do that. Yeah.
From what I understand, we actually had to kind of not push someone out, but we actually got a slot, which was very lucky
so
too.
The thing is that we decided to do it there at quite a late stage, but Air is a very popular studio, so it had been booked, fully booked for 2 years already. So you need to challenge the booking, saying, okay, we can do it and we will pay now immediately. And then they ask the previous company that had the booking, are you willing to pay now? And if they are not, then we can take over the slot. So we were very lucky to find that slot at that time, because also Abbey Road, which is the other alternative, it's they have been refurbishing. So it was only one big studio in London at the time. So that was very fortunate.
Super lucky that we got that spot then.
Yeah, and lovely recordings. I mean, Knut did a great job already. I mean, we had the original, or we could call it the demos. I'm always a little nervous when we get the music back from the orchestra. I mean, we'll keep the same energy as Knut originally had. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And having these in separate layers as well to play around with in the music, it's great.
I've been very involved in the entire project process, of course. So it's very important that you don't just give things away and let other people take over, because they don't understand necessarily the vision, no matter how good and professional they are. You need to be there and guide them and tell them what to do. And so I've been following the process very closely throughout the whole time we're working on it. So I've been very careful not to let it slip, you know, and kind of get out of control.
That's great that you can have like creative control over.
Yeah, it's very important to have that creative control throughout the process.
And the exciting thing is that players can actually listen to the soundtrack specifically if they pre-order one of the bigger pre-order editions. So you get actually a digital soundtrack, including the amazing pieces that Knut composed for us. So I'm especially excited for that. And we're also working with Sony, who helps us in digital distributing it. Maybe something else that we're working on as well. But, anyway, so
working on the names for the soundtrack now. So that's exciting.
Oh, okay, yeah, the actual tracks. And then I can come back and ask you which is your favorite track back then, when we have names for the tracks, actually. Okay, okay, Adil, how do you support? Because Dune Awakening has a main story, right? And it's quite important for the game too. And there's a lot of narrative things going on. So how do you support narrative with sound design? Like, how do you do storytelling?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, we have a lot of mouths to feed, I think, and narrative has the biggest mouth and the most important one, if I can put it that way. So, I mean, we have excellent writers, so they're doing an amazing job, and they're also very good at incorporating kind of requests for audio in narrative. And we also have a lot of freedom, but audio is not just another technical layer, it's actually a narrative tool. So you can use audio to, you know, maybe convey what's racing through a character's mind, change in the moment, and you know, in a quiet scene, we can take certain elements you see and turn them into a character themselves, or we can have a lot of methods to kind of enhance and work with narrative, even silence, or same with music. We can use music the same way to kind of convey emotions. So we work tight together, and we review things a lot, and we
the most important function of music in a game or in a film is to support or convey emotional content. So any chance you have to do that with the music, it's very important to do that and to kind of make an effort to tell a story with music and also to convey emotional content. So that's absolutely the most important part of music.
It goes into immersion too. It's very important for the immersion as well. And if I just think about a sound design now as well, it's like I recently in the latest build I played through the paint box scene, like the start of the game, the character creation part, and I noticed there's now a new sound there that is. It's not loud, but it's very high pitched in the background, and you just notice it, and it's really. It almost gives me that like ooh dentist type of feel. It makes me like ooh, clench my buttocks. No way. It's like oh, there's something really like it really grates you, and I feel like that is so fantastic to do that, and I think that's really what makes good sound design too. Or like we talk about what is it called, the brown note for horror movies, right? Which is supposedly a myth. I was told earlier, so you can't.
It's in there. If people put on their subwoofers and good headphones, maybe they get a bit of those 13 hertz. But
we don't have it in the game yet, though, right? We don't. We maybe we'll have it in the game at one point.
We'll see.
So it's like it doesn't actually do what the myth is. It makes you do the brown note, but it just creates this eerie like.
Well, there's this kind of the nuclear furnace in the stomach of the sandworm in the end of it. So.
Yes, talking about the sandworm. So how did you come up with the sound for the sandworm? Because that is a very iconic thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is an iterative process. It has to work for the game. Obviously, we're trying to align with the films as well. Amazing sound design in the films. The worm has its own language, but in our game, it's alive. So it's always moving around. You should be able to hear it from a distance. So we need to find a way where it actually feels good and it's not too intrusive, and that's pretty challenging. But we are developing a language for it, and it feels pretty good now. So it's raw and it's divine. I mentioned it before. It's not really a monster. It's a divine creature. It's part of Arrakis. So.
And it's not, I feel it's not just the audio either. It's like the music builds up when you actually anger the worm, right, in the game. It's similar with sandstorms too. Like after a while, understanding of what's actually going to happen, just through the music, the sounds, the audio, and that alone is like very immersive too. Like it just gets you into the flow of things, and I think that's also very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and that's why it's important to be able to use the music and to have the music adapt to what's going on. So that also why we're working in layers and parts, and then we can start the music when we need it to start.
Yeah, it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's really cool to work on. So right now we might have moments where you will be in a battle, you'll be attacked by NPCs, and then you have players, and then the worm comes on top of this, and there's different music coming around to be working on the balance, and it's pretty challenging.
Maybe one last thing before we close off this segment, the community.
Oh.
I personally really love it. Like you were working, of course, on it actively. So can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, in the game we have something called the CommuniNet, which is kind of the platform for communication in the game. In there we have a radio, and we have a fantastic team of writers. They've been making these radio shows that represents each faction. Really fun to listen to, and we have music too, which will pay some kind of tribute to the legacy of Dune music. So. Stay tuned for that. That's all I can say.
So you can turn it on or you can turn it off. So you can listen to your faction propaganda, like Atreides propaganda or canon propaganda. There's like podcasts and things. So as you mentioned, the narrative team has been really amazing, has done really amazing work on that too. And it's really fun to listen to those actually. Plus also, as you mentioned, music. So that's going to be very exciting.
And not the least, fantastic work by my designers and the team. So
everyone involved,
sounds really
including
good
the sounds
now, so.
and the music, of course. That is also part of that radio. So yes, Knut, to finish this up, is there any, or are there any specific channels that we can, Spotify, that we can follow you and find your other work?
Yes, well, I'm on Spotify. There are some things there, but much more is on its way. And I also have I've never been a social media person, but I've finally created an Instagram account, and I'm updating it, and there's going to be kind of steady updates there in the time to come. But it's kind of a new thing, but I'm there.
Awesome, that's great. I think from what I understand, we also have those links in the chat. So if you're interested, make sure to give definitely the Instagram a follow, so we can build up his community there, and also check him out on Spotify. Knut, Ariel, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm definitely, both of you, very busy schedule. You, of course, with the project, I think you probably also with other projects. So really appreciate you being here. And yes, and we are going into our next segment, which is going to be monetization and our pre-orders. But before we do that, we have a short, beautiful video of Arrakis. Welcome back, and we are talking now about our business model for Dune Awakening and also the pre-orders that just went live a few hours ago. And here with me now to talk about this, I have Ole Andreas Haley, lead producer on Dune Awakening.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
Ole
you.
Andreas.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce yourself to the chat quickly?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ole Andreas Haley. I've been working at Funcom for 3.5 years, started on Dune Awakening, and I'm the lead producer, as you mentioned. So I'm producing, making sure that the teams just have the information they need and make sure that they are producing at as high velocity as they can, and making sure that the game gets shipped. That's my main purpose now.
So herding cats, basically, right?
Kinda, yeah. They're nice cats, though. Like I was watching the
Super
stream.
nice cats.
I was
Yes.
watching the stream, and I mean, I love this team. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love every single person that works for Funcom. Like, we are a fantastic team as well.
Yeah.
Working really hard too. But anyway, let's talk about our business model.
Yes,
Wanna
let's
go?
do.
Yes, we just recently had a video from Joel, but some people here might not have seen that, so maybe it's good to just...
Yeah, I
dive
can
into
give a
it.
small little reminder or like a recap of what was discussed there. So the business model for Dune Awakening is just as Joel said it, we're not going to be releasing early access. It's going to be a full game at launch, a full launch, and then we're doing a DLC business model or the monetization model. So we're going to be releasing DLCs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it in the pre-orders. But then there's a season pass where you can get the first 4 DLCs included.
Correct. And also, I know there was a little bit of confusion about the wording because people were like, oh, you do Head Start, so you said you don't do early access and thing. But early access is basically what Steam calls games that get released and then like grow over time in terms of not being fully like, what's the term, like feature complete in that sense, right? So they're like kind of bare bone when they get released, and then you basically finance the development by going into early access and selling the game that way. But the Head Start that we have basically just means you can play 5 days before the normal like orders or the normal start is for the game, basically. So.
Exactly. So yeah, it's not an early access game per se then. So I guess we can jump into some of the...
Yes, we can actually go into the pre-orders. So hopefully we'll have the image on screen relatively soon. There we go. Now we have the different editions. Maybe you want to...
yeah, we can go through them. So you'll have your standard edition, which is going to be the base game as it is. And then it includes a terrarium of Muad'Dib, which is awesome. I hope we can show that.
My favorite. That's the... Anyway, maybe we'll see it later.
Yeah, hopefully. And then it'll also include the Sunset Eye Global Swatch. We can talk a little bit about swatches when we get to maybe showcase that. But yeah, we have a customization system in the game where you can customize stuff like your vehicles, you can customize your weapons, your armors, in terms of swatches, but also then different, I guess, swaps. What do you call it? Like it's a 3D model swap, basically.
Yeah. Oh, skin?
Yeah, skin.
A skin,
exactly.
yes. So you have a different skin.
So that's the standard edition. And then you'll have your deluxe edition, which then includes your Head Start, where you can play from 15th of May. So that's 5 days, getting access to the game 5 days before the official launch. And then you'll have the Season Pass, which includes the 4 DLCs. They're outlined a little bit on the Steam page, I think. So we already have some information out about them. But yeah, and then you have the Sardaukar Batar armor, basically. And then you'll have your Ultimate Edition, which includes a Caladan Palace building set. I think maybe we have some visuals for that as well.
We do.
It looks awesome. And then you have the Dune 2021 film still suit, and then the digital art book and the digital soundtrack. And then lastly, you'll have your Blue Dasher Ornithopter swatch, and then the Dusk Rider Sandbike swatch. So yeah, it's
quite a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of good stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff, yes. We can probably go into some of the assets that we can show you, like some of the things at least. My favorites.
Oh my God.
Our favorites.
It's so cute.
It's adorable. I'm just gonna like sit in my base and look at it all day.
I might not go out. I mean, the worm is out there. It's dangerous. It's gonna eat you. I can just sit inside and watch this.
It's just the most adorable thing. What I'm a little bit sad about is the fact that you don't, because it does actually different type of animations. You don't actually see the digging down into the sand right now.
So it does a few different things. It'll burrow down into the sand, as Natasha's saying, and it looks adorable. So it's an awesome thing to decorate your base with when you're base building and creating your little crib.
You also find the Muad'Dibs in the open desert, of course. Like you will find it in the world. You can theoretically kill it to get blood, which I'm still a little bit
It.
I don't know who made the decision, but I'm still a bit bitter about that. But anyway, yeah, that's another topic.
It's a choice, though. You don't have to
It's a choice.
kill it.
That's true. It's a choice. Yes, you're very correct. Here we see one of the swatches. So obviously, armor have default colors when you first craft them or you first get them, and then you have like a specific swatch that you can then use. Like there's tons of different color swatches.
Yeah. So now you're seeing the armor with the swatch. So if you didn't apply the swatch, it would look have the default swatch on it. It would look a bit different. So this is. It's a cool dye to put on your armors.
Also good, like for a guild, for example, to have a specific swatch so that
for sure
they can like represent. Then we have an example of a vehicle swatch as well.
Also looks awesome. I mean, I love our vehicles. Just
you like blue ornithopter specifically?
I mean, the blue one is beautiful, but I have a preference towards the Harkonnen versions, but.
Same though.
Because they look really, really cool.
It might or might be the reason that I'm going Harkonnen faction because of the ornithopter.
Oh.
Who knows? And here we see the building set, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. So yeah.
Do you know which all the different pieces that are part of this building set? Do you remember? Do you know as a?
Oh, I don't remember.
So quite a few, I think. I don't remember either, unfortunately. But there's a lot of the small things. I'm not sure if it includes the actual walls. That's what I was actually just.
I don't think the walls are included. So it's the furniture that's included here.
Yep.
So it's all of it, like the tables and the benches and the decorations and the stuff in the back.
Of course, the Atreides bull scene down there, like the bullfighting scene, which will of course make sense to people who know the lore and who know the books.
And I think in the segment before, when you showcased the base building, that was that a Chome building set? And you can see here, there's like different types of building sets that have been used as well. So then you can mix and match a little bit. So you can have your Calden Palace building set in your Chome building or your Atreides style buildings. It's going to be fun building bases on Dune, I think.
Exactly. All right, and now we have, of course, the frame blade. So we still have our benchmark and the character creator available for free on Steam as well. If you download that and if you go through it, you can make your character for release. You will have a save file that you can then import. You can also run the benchmark to see if your hardware is up to speed to run Dune Awakening and how it will run. And if you do that, you also get this unique knife skin, the frame blade, which is basically skin for the first knife, the starter knife that you get, so you can be very stylish.
Be extra cool as you get into the game and start out the game.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's cool.
It looks really vicious. It looks really deadly. like all the rust and things. It's like it looks painful.
Yeah. Is it tetanus shot you need to get before you get stabbed with one
Good
of those?
idea. Yeah, good idea. Or rabies, something like that.
One thing to mention around the DLCs that might be a question. So there's some information on the store page. I think you can go there and look at it yourself. But yeah, there's some information about the type of stuff you can get in them.
Yes.
So cosmetics. And
so we have like first DLC is cosmetics, second is cosmetics and some side story,
yeah,
and then
there's a side story
like
there.
Optional, like nothing that you actually need to buy or need to have, and then more cosmetics. But yes,
but I think it's important maybe to mention, because I think I've seen this discussed as well, is that there's no selling. We're not selling power in the DLCs.
It's not pay to win.
That's
very important to us. Yes.
And the Dune game is structured into tiers.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have tiers of enemies and weapons, but none of the DLCs will sell you something that
a higher tier, basically.
Tier.
Yes. So we will always have the same tiers in another area that is not that you don't have to pay for. We will never sell you a higher tier in a DLC.
And I've seen that asked somewhere, so I just wanted to clarify that.
No, I think that's really great. Absolutely. So yeah, another thing that we actually were seeing here and there is like that people were a little bit afraid about Head Start and like what happens if like some of my guild members start early and I can't. Will I still be able to play on the same server, right? That's one of the things that players were a little bit concerned about. So we do actually have a little bit of an image here, and Ole Andreas can maybe elaborate a little bit on this.
Yes, we have a blog post about this topic as well, so there might be some. You can go and search it up. But basically, what you see there is the Haga Basin is where you start. There is a player cap there, but there's also a queue system, so you can. There's not like it wouldn't stop after 40 players. You can still come in later, and then queue up.
Yes.
But then, in addition to those Haga basins that are instanced there, you also have the social hubs and the deep desert, which is a shared instance between the entire world. So I don't think that should be a big concern, really. I think there will be a good chance that you'll be able to play with your friends for sure.
Yes, like basically, it's not like the Haga Basin instance that your friends start playing on will be full and you won't be able to join at all. It will just potentially be a queue if it's like super busy, right?
Yes.
And then we've also seen, of course, concerns about the deep desert and how, people, how does that work?
Yeah, I think we've talked a little bit about that as well on the blog and in different videos. But yes, so the deep desert is a meshed 3x3 server grid. So you go there, it's the same instance for all of the Haga basins. So when you're getting to the end game and you participate in the Landsrad, I'm not going to go into that, but which is one of our end game systems, you might all be going to the deep desert fighting for the same reason or the same resources, the same territories, and then it's basically a gigantic map that's 9 times the size of Haga Basin, and you go there and you'll meet other people from other Haga Basins as well and fight over that. And it's the majority of it is PvP, so it's the bottom layer where you enter the map is where it's PvE, so you can go in there in safety, gear up, build your outpost and start getting ready, and then you can go out and you can have those PvP skirmishes out in the deep desert. There is some concern I think I've seen around people. Oh, what if I'm PvE player mostly? Can I still participate and go to the deep desert? Mm-hmm. We've seen this in the beta though. Like people who are PvE players actually go out in the deep desert and they still manage to lurk around and get some stuff out there.
Yes, to tip their toes basically into PvP. So it's not that scary, like as long as you don't go like where all the big guilds just fight it out and stuff. So still, like there's still opportunities for like solo players specifically as well, but also like PvE players specifically. So and there's also what I think is very cool is that there's lots of different opportunities and things that a PvE player can actually contribute to the Landsrad. It's not just PvP.
Correct.
But
yes.
More on that later.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things there too. But yes, I do think we have actually covered most of the things that we wanted to cover before we go into the Q&A. So as I mentioned, we have been collecting some questions from chat. And while we're preparing those, we also get Jeff back in, so he can also answer some of these questions. That's of course also the reason that we have, we want the questions to be in regards to the topics that we actually covered today, because we have guests on that can actually answer those questions really well, while we might get questions otherwise that these guests are not qualified to answer, right? They work in different departments, so that's also one of the reasons. So yeah, I think once Jeff is here, he's actually walking in right now.
Hello, Jeff.
Welcome back, Jeff.
Oh, hi.
All right.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Oh, hi. Bonjour, monsieur.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, monsieur. Canadien. Okay, yes. So we will start with some questions that we collected from chat. Just waiting for the first one to pop up. Obivana, what a cool name. Obivana asks, is voice chat available in game? You want to answer that maybe?
Yes.
Okay, spoilers.
Next one.
Yes. Well, it's proximity chat, right? So it's like...
It's proximity chat. It'll be, so you'll have to enable it, basically. It'll be disabled by default, but you can go in and enable it if you want, yes.
All right.
Simple as that. Yes, I hope they're all easy like this.
I'm pretty sure some people are like, no, it should be enforced at all times. You know, like other games have it like a death count, like if you kill someone and it just opens up their microphone.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a...
Yannick Man asked, will we have controller support on release?
Yes, I think Steam says partial controller support, but yes, the game was built with controller in mind.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things when the UI UX director got on board. That was one of the core directions that he was giving that he was given from the product. So we really want to have really good controller support. So you can pick up your game controller and play everything.
Plug and play.
Plug and play, exactly. And also because it's way easier to design for PC mouse and keyboards than it is for controller. So doing that first and get it out of the way was actually quite a smart move, I feel like. Yeah.
I sometimes prefer playing it on controller because then you get the rumble as well.
From the worm specifically,
Yeah,
I remember that too. It actually
from the
freaked
worm,
me out
yep.
because I hate, I'm sorry, but I don't like playing on controller. I'm a mouse and keyboard player through and through for any genre. But I had my controller connected and on the sides and a worm, and it started like, and it freaked me out. It was a great moment. I was like,
Nice.
really on brand too for the worm.
Exactly.
So yeah. Shadow Thoughts asks, are contracts forced co-op or can I do them solo?
You can do everything solo. Like 99.9% of the game can be done solo. We've seen people in the beta doing spice harvesting solo. Like flying the transportopter with the harvester, going out, driving the harvester, coming back, taking
it's
the thing.
definitely more work.
Yeah, so it's a
definitely
lot
not
more
as
work.
efficient.
Everything can be done solo, but not everything is efficient. So,
yes.
but yes, 100%.
Yes. Oh, Xpades. I hope I didn't butcher that name. If I did, I apologize. How big is Deep Desert? Is it still going to be several zones, meshes, or is population going to be smaller than we expected?
I think we answered this. So
Did you?
Yeah, we did just before you came. It's well, you can do the repeats then.
Go for it. Let's see if you see the
Just
same
what
thing
he
as
said-
us.
what he said,
I should
what
have.
he
I
said.
should have watched the thing when you were talking.
What
Well, the Desert is big. I think it's 576 square kilometers or something like this. But I don't have much more to say if you already talked about it, right? I'm trying to look at the other question. Is population going to be smaller than we expected? I don't know. What are people expecting?
I am not really sure either.
We talked
Is
about
population
1,000
going to be
players or
smaller than we
something like this.
expected?
So.
I mean, we've said several hundreds, right?
We said several hundreds.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's still the case.
Yes. And yes, it's several
we'll
zones.
see if
There's several servers stuck together. You can cross them seamlessly, and but yeah, it's a vast open sand area with little tidbits here and there, right? So it's big. That's really big.
it's a lot of little tips.
Yes.
So it's Viz LA asks, will Haga Basin be full PvP?
No.
Nope.
No.
We did touch on that a little bit when we talked about the shipwreck and the Imperial testing stations. So you will have full PvE areas where you can't be attacked whatsoever. Also important, your base in Haga Basin won't be able to be attacked.
No.
As long as it has shield up, it won't get destroyed either. Yes.
The Haga Basin is 98% PvE. The Deep Desert is
So we have the
98%
shipwrecks,
PvP.
and we have the
It's the
shipwrecks.
flip,
that
and we have
are,
the shipwrecks.
Like,
That are just a little dip your toe if you want to, and you know.
And I guess you talked about it in your stream as well. The places in Haga Basin that are PvP are the shipwrecks.
Exactly.
Except for the first one.
Except for the first one, yes.
Correct. Yes.
Just to ease people into things.
Also, the one we entered was actually one of the smaller ones.
Yeah, it was super tiny. Yeah, I wanted to say that. I forgot earlier, but yeah.
There you go.
We have really big shipwreck, but I didn't want it to spoil anything during the stream, so I was like, let's go to this tiny
small one
instead. Yes.
Yes.
And Camille did like half of it, so yeah, just.
Mixer is asking, there will be timers for bases to decay like in Conan Exiles?
Yes. So we have some decay mechanics for the bases. So as long as your base is powered, it is shielded, and as long as it's powered and shielded, you can't destroy it. I think you mentioned it as well.
Yes.
So then, as long as you do that, that's fine, and you can fuel your base up right now in the beta for weeks and leave and then come back again.
So if you go on vacation, you can plan for that.
Yeah, you can plan for that.
I think it's 21 days or something like this.
Yes.
But yeah, and then
But once the shield goes down, the sandstorm will start tearing at your base, etc., etc. So yes, and there's two types of sub-thieves, but I don't want to go into this. I think you're going to have a stream later about
We're
this.
going to have a building stream specifically where we talk about...
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be like in Conan, but we have something similar to make sure that we get rid of things when people leave the game for too long.
Yeah.
And it's also easier to abandon your base too, like if you want to move and because we have a set limit of how many bases you can have. So it's also we have a lot of quality of life things there.
Yes.
Also thanks to a lot of the beta testers, by the way, for their input.
Shout outs
to the beta players.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Salty Scrampy, love that name too. People have such amazing names. Salty Scrampy from Twitch asks, can you build anywhere?
The answer is kind of yes. We have places in the game that we made sure that we have what we call no building volumes, because we don't want players to go build on like the Atreides fortress and then build a base on it, you know? We don't want players to build inside or around a trade post and on main roads to make sure that people don't block. But yes, you can build anywhere, including on the sand. Just don't do it. just like when you place the sub-thief, it's Halsman tech. It attracts the worm instantly. So you can build on the sand, but Shai Hulud is gonna num at your base.
Yeah, if you feel very spicy, you can try to build on the sand. And
it happens to a lot of players. There's a lot of players in the beta who built on the sand.
It happens to our developers too. I saw a post recently somewhere and it's like, am I
Where's my
supposed
base?
to build on Slack? Where's my base?
Where's my base now? Well, just check your log.
Mr.
Destroyed
Chompy.
by Shai Hulud. Oh yeah, here we go.
Mr. Chompy got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dani Loabella on YouTube asks, are there wind traps like the ones in Dune 2000?
There are wind traps.
But not like in the one in Dune 2000. Correct. We have
our own wind traps.
No, but yes, but no.
Yes, but
I don't
no.
think sure. Yeah, we have our own wind traps that is more in line with the movies.
Yeah. I think they look very cool, by the way.
Yes.
I just really like how they look.
And they're really useful when you have a base.
Yes.
Oh yes.
So. Very
100%.
efficient too.
Oh yes.
Yes. Football goat, like we had with the names, love it, on YouTube asks, can you attack from the ornithopter?
Yes, you can. The ornithopters can be equipped with a rocket launcher module.
You can even stand on the ornithopter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was reading the question. I'm like,
yeah, that's
you
what
can also kind of like it's a sandbox. It's a sandbox game, so you can like Shiga Warrior Claw and stand on top of a topter with a last gun and weep.
We did that in a playtest internally.
Yes.
Alex, one of our combat designers, or the combat designer basically, he told us, get on the battle bus. Everyone got a
get on the battle bus?
Yes, the
get
battle bus.
on the battle bus. I love that.
So it was basically a
Get on the
transport
battle bus.
ornithopter with the 5 people on top with like las guns and
that's something Alex would do.
miniguns.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
It was
So you
fun.
kind of, I guess, yes, you can attack from the ornithopter.
You can attack with the ornithopter and you can attack from the ornithopter as well.
Exactly.
Yes. 100%.
Oh, one thing worth mentioning, I don't know if it's been mentioned before, but you can also attack from seated vehicles if it's open.
Yes, if it's open windows.
Yeah, also, if you sit in a buggy, you can pew-pew with your guns when the other one is...
It's the same, yes, and you also have guns equipped on the buggy too.
Yep.
So, yeah, lots of options. Mr. Webco on Twitch asks, will there be different types of ground and flying vehicles?
Yes.
Yes, 100%. We have
tons of different
we call them
ones,
ground
different
cars,
sizes,
but yeah,
ground
we have
cars, yes.
we have the sandbike, the buggy, and the famous topter,
and of course the harvester.
Yeah, the harvester.
And we have all different kinds of flying vehicles too, including the transport ornithopter.
And a cool thing, because like we have flying vehicles of different sizes as well, like classes. Yeah. So some of them can have passengers and some of them can't. But in addition to that, it's all modular. Yes. So you can kind of tune it to your own experience or whatever you want. So I was driving around with the buggy one day and then we swapped the back seats for a mining laser, for example. So
yeah, or the 2-person ground vehicle as well. Like you can have an extra seat for your friend, or we've shown that in videos
more
before.
Inventory.
Or you can have a more,
Camille, when he was playing earlier, he had a boost and a scanner.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things.
Yeah, you can just customize it like you want it to be. Alrighty. Ooh, that's difficult to pronounce. Oh dear God. Skomazo? No, wait, hang on. One. That's a one at the end.
Xomaze 1. Xomaze 1.
SXOmaze 1.
Yes.
I'll do it that. I apologize if I butchered your name. On Twitch, ask, is there any information for when Dune comes to consoles?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But it is coming. That's what
Yes,
it is
absolutely.
coming.
Mondem007 ask, can speak to private server purchases. Oh, okay. So we are still, we know that private servers is something that the community really wants, the player really want. We know it's very important for the role-playing community specifically.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that go into decisions and technical aspects when it comes to private servers. There's how much can you mod them? Can we allow it to be modded? But then especially our server structure is somewhat complicated and it needs to be taken into consideration for that as well. So at this point, we are very aware that people want it and we are actually looking into options to potentially be able to do it, but we can't really promise or say anything specific at this point.
Nope.
All right. EcoDad75, again, fantastic name, on Twitch asks, how frequently will the DLCs come out?
There is information about the time frame for them on Steam, I believe.
I think,
so.
yes.
It's every 3 to 4 months.
I think,
that cadence, yes. Also, I think what's important to mention here, because we mentioned Season Pass, right? In the we mentioned Season Pass in our business model part, and it's important to mention this is the name that Steam gives DLC bundles, so that has nothing to do with Battle Pass or anything like that. It's really just what Steam calls the bundles for the DLCs. That's why they're called Season Pass on our end as well.
Yep.
Coverture asks, what happens when you are kill someone within PvP? Do you prop everything? Are bodies fully lootable?
First, you swear a little bit.
First, you swear. That's the first thing that happens.
I definitely will.
Then you respawn. Then you try to get back to your corpse, and then you hope that the other is not there. But
or
no, it's not.
Hope it's there.
You hope it's there, and but no, it's not full loot PvP. In the game, you lose durability. You lose all your spice, all your distillery, resources, and things like that. There is a thing that can happen though in the game.
There is a thing that can happen that can modify
that for 1 week.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to go deeper into it.
We talk about that. We talk about that later.
By default, no full drop PvP in full drop in PvP.
Fist of the Walrus. Hey, I remember that name from Conan Exiles. Hello, shout out to Fist of the Walrus. Asked, important question, can you pet the worm?
From the inside, yes.
You can tickle
the inside.
Yes, you
and
can
that's it. Well, I guess you can pet with just throwing darts with a gun, just to kind of tickles a little bit.
Is that petting to you? Is that what?
I don't know. Shayla doesn't really care about that.
Do you have pets? Do you have
no,
pets?
I don't.
Oh, good.
I'm allergic.
Okay,
so.
Good. Good. We're all glad Jeff doesn't have any pets. All right, cool. Yeah. And I think this is the last question.
Maybe.
Yes. Moxter81 asks, what is the maximum size of guilds?
It's 32.
32 now. Yeah,
32
I think that's
now.
what's going to be. Yeah.
Yes, because the servers are 40 and I think or something like that.
32.
You can have
it's
groups
like
of
4
groups.
groups, is it? Yeah.
So it's 32.
So it's yeah. Also, since it didn't come up, but we can probably mention it actively. Since we saw Battle Pass, Season Pass, and all that confusion. Again, Season Pass is what Steam calls the DLC bundles. We do not have a Battle Pass in Dune Awakening. No Battle Pass, no in-game monetization of any kind.
Nope. Correct.
Just so we get that out of the way.
Yes. 100%.
That was the last question.
Oh, that was easy.
Awesome.
That was exciting.
Okay. That's good.
That was our first Dune Awakening stream.
Yes. Pretty good.
Our first Dune Awakening live stream. We had a few hiccups here and there, but hey, we can learn, we can improve. I mean, if it would have been perfect, we couldn't improve anymore, so we wouldn't want that either, right? So.
No, exactly.
There's more streams coming down in the future, more opportunities to ask questions. Ole Andreas, Jeff, thank you so much for being here with us.
It's a pleasure.
Also to everyone who joined us today, either on Twitch, on YouTube, or on Steam. I think we are live on Steam as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. And yes, I think goodbye for now until we see you in the next stream.